Okay, so before we jump into the video, I also want to say something real quick. I started this channel like some years ago, but I only started getting really serious with it like a month ago. And I'm really thankful for all of the support I've gotten from all of you. I hope I can continue to make videos that all of you enjoy. But for that, I need your help. Please like the video if you like it and subscribe to the channel. And without any further ado, let's jump into the video. War, a clash of ideals represented in a clash of steel. No matter how much mankind tries to avoid it, war is inevitable. And the reality of war is far from a glorious battle. And no one knows this better than Walm. One day a man was heading home from work when he suddenly collapsed from a heart attack. But as it is with manga, death is only the beginning of an amazing adventure. But in the case for our main character, it was far from amazing. This is Walm, and when he died that day, he was reborn into a low-class family and spent most of his years struggling to survive. That wasn't until the kingdom of Highserk, the kingdom he was born into, declared war on the joint forces of the kingdoms of Ferris and Mirad. The war changed Walm's life forever. He was no longer a poor beggar foraged from scratch to survive, he was a soldier, and a soldier has one job: to serve his kingdom by killing all those who threaten its peace. Well, that's what Walt tells himself, so he won't be crushed under the weight of his own fractured morality. The truth is, Walm hates war and everything that comes with it. He hates killing, but he can't run away from it because he's a soldier. And it doesn't help that one of the most skilled and efficient warriors in the entire army, in fact, his entire group is, led by a large bear of a man, the Duway squad has been victorious in every battle. And that is no small feat, seeing as how there are only like 6 of them. But aside from their high aptitude for battle, they were like family. Walm's family. When he was with them, he wasn't a murderer or a soldier, he was just Walm. He could laugh with them, play with them, and they were pretty much the only source of comic relief in the entire manga. Walm loves his team like his own family, and that means protecting them if he can. So when a member of his team was pinned down by enemy knights during a castle siege, Walm disregarded his own safety and rushed to protect her from an opponent that should have been much stronger than him. And that decision nearly cost him his life. But in the midst of battle, with his back against the wall, something awakened inside Walm. Power coursed through his body, and he raised his blade and swung it down with unimaginable force. This swing cut through shields, armor, and bone. This was Walm's skill. This was his power move. And with the knight defeated and his companion saved, Walm did the only logical thing he could think of: take the knight's giant halberd and tear through hordes of enemies from that point forward in the manga. He almost never picked up his sword again unless his halberd was either lost or he threw it at an enemy. With his new weapon and his team at his side, Walm and his companions cut a swath through the enemy lines so deep that their deeds were sung throughout the battlefield. They even managed to take on and defeat a squad of seasoned, demon-slaying, dungeon-clearing warriors without a single casualty. They were so good in fact that when the time came to attack the main enemy stronghold, Walm and his companions were amongst those spearheading the charge, against a force outnumbering them by 10,000 troops. Despite his aversion to killing, on the battlefield, Walm was a force of destruction, cleaving through fully armored men like paper, even using some newly learned magic spells against the enemies, clearing a path for the cavalry to come through. Against what seemed like impossible odds, the battle was being won. That wasn't until a man appeared, seated upon a high horse, clad in armor, or royal guard. He plowed through the Highserk soldiers, and even managed to overpower Walm's power move with little efforts. Once again, Walm was pushed to the limits and beyond. He had to stop this soldier, had to reach the commander, or else this war would never end. But his strongest attack was useless, and a fire spell wouldn't burn through heavy armor. But he had to try, so pouring out his remaining mana into a single spell, Walm lit his surroundings on fire. But instead of your normal red and orange flame, this fire burned bright blue. This wasn't any normal flame. This was the Ignis Fatuus, the flame set to send his victims to the underworld. And when the knight came to attack Walm, his sword melted before it came in contact, and he and his armor were all turned to ash. This blue bonfire would not only turn the tide of that battle, but the entire war. What had first been a flame born out of desperation would soon become the guiding light for the Highserk Empire's war. A flame so powerful, nations would have to take into account if they planned to attack Highserk, but would also become a flame of hope for its people. A flame used to boil potatoes at some point, and before everything was said and done, a flame of vengeance. But for now, it was just the Ignis Fatuus, the bonfire of the Netherworld. Record of the Highserk War scratched an itch that I didn't even know needed scratching. Ever since I read The Faraway Paladin and The Witch and the Beast, I wanted to read another fantasy manga that wasn't about your generic overpowered isekai protagonist. I wanted something dark, with a main character that was written with a certain level of depth. And then I realized I had already read it, like 3 years ago. Before being a manga, Record of Highserk War is a story. No, I'm pretty sure it literally has a light novel written by Toru Tonen, with the illustrations being done by Saru Taro. But what I mean is, the plot is actually very compelling. Walm doesn't want to kill. He feels more like a murderer than a soldier, but he also feels like he owes it to his country to fight. So he does, and it does help that he's an incredibly gifted fighter. He's not overpowered like most Sky protagonists, because there's plenty of fights where he's almost lost, and one where he's outrightly being beaten. But he is amazing nonetheless, even managing to learn both a skill and magic, which shouldn't normally be the case in this world, but he's isekais, who is allowed a certain level of creative freedom. But even with this, he isn't some monster. Sure, he can speed blitz the average soldier, but when facing groups of skilled opponents or just strong individuals, Walm's battles usually require tactics and a very active inner monologue. Walm's character is one that makes the manga worth reading. His internal monologue, the way he views the world around him and his actions, all weaves together to make him a very interesting character. In a world where war is the only constant, Walm has no options but to fight, but he refuses to give into bloodlust and unnecessary violence. He might be a soldier, maybe even a murderer, but he still has a heart. I mean, when he's not on the battlefield, that is. On the battlefield, he truly is incredible, but when it's just him and his Duet squad, he's just a normal person. But this isn't just a normal squad, it's his family. They love him, joke with him, make fun of him, and even use his Ignis Fatuus to cook, because they'll cook faster, I guess. The Duet squad is his home and he loves them, and would burn down the entire world in blue fire if it meant keeping them safe, or avenging them. And that's another thing, his fight scenes are incredibly well drawn. Walm is depicted as a fast and deadly blade, and when he puts on his demon mask and uses his Ignis Fatuus, he might as well be an unstoppable force of nature. Walm has burned the entire troops of soldiers to nothing more than sticks of charcoal in a matter of seconds, and when he's not lighting people on fire, his skills with the blade is nothing to laugh at. He's used both his axe and sword to decimate enemies, with wallpaper level panels to show for it. The way Sato Naomi draws characters makes them very memorable. Aside from the hundreds of troops running around and dying every 4 panels, every time I introduced to a new character, I find myself remembering the names of faces many chapters after, and I'm shit at remembering. The point is, Record of Highserk War is a great manga with an amazing main character and a captivating story. Thank you for watching. This was the Sword Material signing out. Please remember to like and subscribe. Bye!